Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We love exploring those hidden pathways of knowledge. And this time, um, we're taking a fascinating journey
Into the world of Kabbalah.
into the world of Kabbalah. Exactly.
Yeah, we're diving deep into some intriguing writings on Kabbalistic knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
Writings filled with symbolism and concepts that might initially seem like a secret code.
Right.
But don't worry, we're here to help you crack that code.
Exactly. You've given us excerpts from a lecture, and it all starts with this mysterious word, azah.
Kaza.
Yeah. It definitely piqued my curiosity.
It's more than just a cool sounding word.
Good.
It represents the very essence of something, the core, the beginning and the end, all wrapped up in one.
Ah, so it's like the ultimate building block.
That's a great way to put it. It's like the seed that contains the potential for an entire tree.
I like that.
Yeah.
So how does Azoth relate to Kabbalah?
Well, in Kabbalah, we often talk about the tree of life,
Right.
which maps out different levels of reality and aspects of the divine.
Right.
Azoth is like the raw material, the primordial energy that flows through the entire tree.
So to understand Kabbalah, we need to start with this concept of Azoth, this essential building block of everything.
Exactly. Now things get even more interesting when the lecture introduces the idea of the veils of negative existence. We encounter these terms, Ein Sof and Ein Sof are.
Those sound pretty intense.
They are, but they're crucial to understanding how Kabbalists view the ultimate source of everything. Imagine trying to describe what existed before the Big Bang.
Okay.
That's what we're dealing with here.
Wow.
These veils represent the absolute nothingness, the unknowable from which all creation emerges.
So it's like trying to wrap our minds around something that's beyond our comprehension, the mystery behind the mystery.
You got it. And these veils, as they're called, are said to lie behind Kether, the very first Sephira on the Tree of Life.
So we're starting at the very top of the tree with the most abstract and unknowable concepts.
Precisely. But here's where it gets really fascinating. From this ultimate source, Kether, we have the emergence of Abba and Ema, the supernal father and mother.
Wait, so even the divine has parents?
It's a symbolic way of understanding different aspects of the divine.
Okay.
Abba is associated with wisdom, while Ema represents understanding. They're like the two sides of the same coin, both necessary for creation.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do they fit into the tree of life?
Well, Abba is linked to Chokmah, the second, Sapphira, and Ema to Bina, the third. They emanate from Kether, but they also have their own distinct roles.
So it's like a family tree with Kether at the top and Abba and Ema branching out from there.
Exactly. Now, here's where things get even more intriguing. The lecture says that Abba and Ema, united as Elohim, become the parents of Zaur Anpin, also known as the Microprosopis.
Microprosopis, that's a mouthful.
I know, right? But it's a really important concept. While Macroprosopis, which is associated with Kether, represents the vast, incomprehensible aspect of the divine.
Right.
Microprosopis is the more personal, relatable face of God.
So it's like the difference between looking at the entire night sky and focusing on a single star.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Zaur Anpin, as the Microprosopis, embodies the divine attributes that interact directly with creation.
I see. So we've got this divine family, Kether as the ultimate source, Abba and Ema as the divine parents, and Zaur Anpin as the divine offspring who interacts with the world.
You've got it. And each of these figures is associated with specific Sephiroth on the Tree of Life.
Right.
We already talked about Abba with Chokmah and Ema with Bina.
Yes.
Zaur Anpin actually encompasses 6 Sephiroth from Chiz to Yesod, representing different aspects of his being.
This is fascinating, but I have to admit, it's a lot to keep track of.
It definitely is. But think of it like this. We're starting to map out the divine family tree, understanding the different roles and relationships within the Kabbalistic system.
All right, I'm ready for more.
Okay.
What else does this lecture delve into?
Well, now that we have this foundation of the divine family, the lecture dives into the symbolism of the Tetragrammaton,
What?
the 4-letter name of God, YHVH.
Ah, the Tetragrammaton. We've definitely heard about that before, but there's always more to uncover.
Absolutely. And the lecture reveals how each letter of YHVH corresponds not only to a member of the divine family,
Okay.
but also to one of the 4 worlds and a suit in the tarot.
Whoa, hold on. So each letter is like a multi-layered symbol connecting different aspects of Kabbalah?
Exactly. It's mind-blowing how much is packed into those 4 letters. For example, Yod, the first letter, represents Abba, the world of Atziluth, and the suit of wands.
Wow, that's incredible. So each letter is like a key that unlocks a whole new level of understanding.
That's a great way to think about it. The Tetragrammaton isn't just a name, it's a roadmap to the entire Kabbalistic system.
Okay, I'm starting to see how everything connects.
Yeah.
What about the other letters?
Well, Hey, the second letter represents Ema, the world of Braya, and the suit of cups. Vow, the third letter, represents Zawar Anpin, the world of Yetzirah, and the suit of swords. And the final He represents Malkuth, the 10th Sephira, the world of Asaya, and the suit of pentacles.
Okay, so each letter corresponds to a divine figure, a world, and a tarot suit. It's like a cosmic puzzle where all the pieces fit together.
Exactly. And remember how we talked about Azoth as the essential building block? Well, the lecture explains that there are 10 Sephiroths in each of the four worlds, making a total of 400 Sephiroth.
400 Sephiroth. That's a lot of building blocks.
It is. And this number 400 is connected to the Hebrew letter Tau, which symbolizes completion, the totality of existence.
Wow.
So it's like saying the tree of life across all four worlds represents the full expression of Azoth, the entirety of creation.
That's amazing. So we've gone from this primordial Azoth to a complex system of divine figures, worlds, and tarot suits, all interconnected through the tree of life.
You're getting it. And speaking of the tree of life, the lecture also describes how the tarot is mapped onto the tree in a very specific way. It's like overlaying one map onto another to reveal hidden connections.
Okay, I'm really intrigued now. How does that mapping work?
Well, for example, the 4 aces in the tarot are placed on Kether, the top of the tree. The numbered cards correspond to their respective Sephiroth. The 22 major arcana cards are arranged on the paths between the Sephiroth, and the court cards are placed alongside specific Sephiroth representing different aspects of their energy.
So it's like the tarot is a visual representation of the tree of life, a way to access its wisdom through symbols and imagery.
Exactly. And this mapping reveals how the tarot can be used as a powerful tool for exploring the different levels of reality represented by the tree.
This is incredible. We've covered so much ground already, from Azoth to divine families, the Tetragrammaton, and now the tarot mapped onto the tree of life. Where do we go from here?
Well, after laying this incredible foundation, the lecture shifts gears and delves into the admission badges used in the grade of Philosophus.
Okay.
It's like we're moving from the theory to the practical application of these concepts.
Admission badges. Are we talking about a secret society now?
Not quite a secret society, but definitely a deeper level of study. These badges are symbolic representations used in some Kabbalistic orders, each one granting access to a specific path on the tree of life.
So it's like earning a badge for completing a level in a video game. Each badge represents a new understanding or ability.
That's a great way to put it. These badges aren't just decorative, they're powerful symbols that embody specific Kabbalistic principles.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me about these badges.
Well, the first one the lecture describes is the Calvary Cross of 12 squares.
12 squares. What's the significance of that?
This cross represents the 29th path on the Tree of Life associated with the letter Kuf. It's a path connected to the zodiac, representing the cycles of time and the journey of the soul through different experiences.
So it's like a cosmic map of our soul's journey.
Exactly. And this path is also connected to the River of Eden, which in Kabbalah represents the flow of divine energy into creation. The 12 squares represent the 12 signs of the zodiac, showing how that energy is expressed through different archetypes and experiences.
Wow, there's so much symbolism packed into a single badge.
That's the beauty of Kabbalah. It's a system where every symbol has multiple layers of meaning, inviting us to explore deeper and deeper.
I can't wait to hear about the other badges.
Well, next time we'll delve into the Pyramid of the Four Elements and other fascinating symbols that unlock the practical wisdom of the Kabbalistic tradition.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. Until then, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Kabbalah. We'll be back soon with more fascinating insights and aha moments. Stay curious. Welcome back to the deep dive. Last time we started uncovering some of the mysteries of Kabbalah, exploring fascinating concepts like Azoth, the divine family, the Tetragrammaton, and even the tarot mapped onto the tree of life.
It's amazing how those seemingly disparate pieces start to fit together.
It really is. And you left us hanging with the admission badges
Right.
used in the Grade of Philosophus.
Yes.
It sounded like we were about to step into a whole new level of understanding.
We are. Remember, these badges represent specific paths on the Tree of Life, each one unlocking a deeper level of Kabbalistic knowledge.
So they're not just symbolic trinkets.
Mm-hmm.
They're keys to understanding the practical application of these concepts.
Exactly. We already touched on the Calvary Cross of 12 squares,
Right.
which represents the 29th path associated with the letter Kof.
Yeah.
It connects to the zodiac and the River of Eden, highlighting the cyclical nature of time and the flow of divine energy into creation.
It's like a cosmic map of our soul's journey through different experiences.
That's a great way to see it. Now, the next badge the lecture describes is the Pyramid of the Four Elements,
Okay.
which admits the initiate to the 28th path associated with the letter Tsari.
Okay, pyramids and elements.
Mm-mm.
This sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
What's the significance of this badge?
Well, think about the four elements: earth, air, fire, and water.
Right?
They represent the fundamental building blocks of the material world.
Right. They're the elements that make up everything we see and experience.
Exactly. And this badge is all about understanding how those elements are rooted in the spiritual realm, how they're expressions of divine energy.
So it's like seeing the material world as a reflection of the spiritual world.
Precisely. The pyramid shape itself is significant. It represents the process of manifestation, how spiritual energy descends and solidifies into matter.
Ah, so the wide base of the pyramid represents the material world, and the point at the top symbolizes the spiritual source.
You got it. And the lecture points out that the Hebrew names of the four elements are inscribed on the sides of the pyramid.
That makes sense. It's like each element has its own spiritual signature.
Exactly. And at the very top of the pyramid, the apex, we find the word eth, which means essence.
So the essence of all the elements, their spiritual root, is at the top closest to the divine source.
Precisely. And at the base of the pyramid, we find the word olam, which means world.
So it's like the pyramid is showing us how the essence of the elements descends from the spiritual realm and takes form in the material world.
That's a beautiful way to put it. This badge is a powerful reminder that the material world isn't separate from the spiritual world. It's an expression of the divine, a manifestation of those essential building blocks represented by the elements.
Wow, I'm starting to see these badges in a whole new light. They're not just abstract symbols. They're tools for understanding how spiritual principles manifest in our everyday reality.
Exactly. Now, the next badge the lecture describes is the Calvary Cross of 10 squares, which admits the initiate to the 27th path associated with the letter Pe and the planet Mars.
A cross with 10 squares. What's the symbolism there?
Well, the 10 squares represent the 10 Sephiroth in balanced disposition. Remember how we talked about the tree of life as a map of reality?
Right. Each sephir represents a different aspect of the divine or a level of consciousness.
Exactly. And this badge is about achieving balance and harmony within ourselves, aligning all those different aspects of our being.
So it's like an inner alchemy balancing the different forces within us.
That's a great way to see it. And this badge is also connected to the altar of incense, which has a cubic structure.
A cubic structure. What's the connection there?
Well, the cube represents manifestation in the material world. It's a symbol of stability and solidity.
Ah, so this cross is about bringing that balance and harmony we cultivate within ourselves into our outer lives, creating a stable and grounded reality.
Exactly. It's about manifesting our spiritual potential in the material world.
I love how these badges are revealing the practical side of Kabbalah, showing us how to work with these concepts to create positive change.
That's the power of this system. It's not just about intellectual knowledge, it's about transformation and empowerment.
Okay, what's the next badge on our journey?
The lecture then describes the Hegemon's Cross, which is connected to 5 Sephiroth, Tifereth Netzach, Had Yesod, and Malkuth.
5 Sephiroth. That's a lot. What's the significance of this particular combination?
Well, if you look at the Tree of Life, these 5 Sephiroth form a kind of cross shape with Tifereth in the center.
And Tifereth is often associated with duty, harmony, and balance, right?
Exactly. And the other 4 Sephiroth represent different aspects of our being. Netzach is associated with emotion and creativity, Had with intellect and communication, Yesod with the subconscious, and our connection to the astral plane, and Malkuth with the physical world and our manifestation in matter.
So this cross is like a blueprint for integrating all those different aspects of ourselves with Tifereth as the central point of balance.
That's a great interpretation. And the lecture points out that this cross represents the 6 Sephiroth of Microprosopis,
Okay.
which we discussed earlier.
Ah, Microprosopis, the more personal aspect of the divine.
Exactly. So this badge is about connecting with that aspect of ourselves, bringing those divine qualities into our everyday lives.
It's like we're embodying the Microprosopis through this integration of our different aspects.
That's a beautiful way to see it. And this badge is also linked to a cubic structure, emphasizing that manifestation in the material world.
So again, it's about grounding those spiritual principles in our reality.
Precisely. Now, the last badge the lecture describes is the symbol of Venus, which encompasses all 10 Sephiroth on the Tree of Life.
Venus, the planet of love and beauty. How does that connect to the Tree of Life?
Well, Venus is considered a symbol of harmony and balance,
Right.
which are essential qualities for navigating the different levels of reality represented by the Sephiroth.
So it's like Venus is guiding us through the Tree of Life, helping us find balance and integration as we journey through its different paths.
That's a beautiful way to see it. And the lecture mentions that this symbol is considered a fitting emblem of Isis,
Okay.
the Egyptian goddess of nature and magic.
Isis. That's fascinating. How does she relate to Venus and the Tree of Life?
Well, Isis is often associated with healing, transformation, and the power of nature. She's a powerful feminine archetype who embodies both wisdom and compassion.
And those qualities are certainly essential for anyone seeking to understand and work with the Tree of Life.
Absolutely. This badge is reminding us that the journey through the Tree of Life is not just an intellectual pursuit, but a transformative experience that requires us to connect with our intuition, our compassion, and our connection to the natural world.
Wow, these badges have taken us on quite a journey. We've explored their symbolism and their connection to the Tree of Life. What's next on our deep dive into Kabbalah?
Well, the lecture then introduces an alternate arrangement of the Tree of Life known as the Seven Palaces of Asaya,
Okay.
which emphasizes the elemental reflections down the tree.
7 palaces, elemental reflections. This sounds like a whole new layer of complexity.
It is, but
Yeah.
it's also a fascinating way to see how the Tree of Life interacts with the material world. Remember, Asaya is the lowest of the 4 worlds, the world of physical manifestation.
Right. So these 7 palaces are like different realms within the material world, each one reflecting a specific aspect of the Tree of Life.
That's a great way to think about it. And the lecture emphasizes how the elements are reflected down the tree in a very specific way.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does that work?
Well, air, the element of thought and communication, is reflected down the middle pillar of the Tree of Life, from Kether to Yesod. It's like a channel of pure energy and inspiration flowing from the highest spiritual realm down to the realm of the subconscious.
So the middle pillar is like the central axis of the tree, and air is the element that connects all those different levels of reality.
Exactly. Then we have water, the element of emotion and intuition, which is reflected crosswise from Bina to Cheese to Hod. It's like a flow of feeling and compassion connecting the feminine principle of Bina with the masculine principles of Cheesed and Hod.
So it's like water is the element that bridges those polarities, creating harmony and balance.
Precisely. And then we have fire, the element of passion and action, which is reflected crosswise from Chokmah to Gibra to Netzach. It's like a surge of energy and willpower connecting the masculine principle of Chokmah with the feminine principles of Gibra and Netzach.
So fire is the element that ignites our creativity and drives us to manifest our desires in the world.
Exactly. And finally, we have Malkuth, the 10th Sephira, which is the receptacle for all 3 elements. It's like the grounding point where those elemental energies meet and take form in the material world.
So Malkuth is like the earth, the fertile soil, where all those seeds planted in the higher realms can grow and flourish.
That's a beautiful analogy. And this arrangement of the Tree of Life as the 7 palaces of Asaya shows us how those elemental energies interact and manifest in our everyday reality.
This is incredible. We've gone from exploring individual badges to understanding a whole new arrangement of the Tree of Life, seeing how it connects to the elements in the material world. What's next on our Kabbalistic journey?
Well, the lecture concludes by outlining the meditations specifically for the grade of Philosophus. It's like we're finally getting to the practical application of all these concepts, the part where we actually experience these principles firsthand.
Okay, this is what I've been waiting for. Tell me about these meditations.
Well, the lecture outlines 2 main meditations. The first one encourages the initiate to contemplate the fire triangle and the symbol of Venus.
Fire and Venus? Those seem like very different energies. What's the purpose of meditating on them together?
That's a great question. And the lecture emphasizes that this meditation is about understanding the interplay of these seemingly opposite forces. Remember, fire is associated with passion, willpower, and action, while Venus represents love, beauty, and harmony.
Right, so it's like finding the balance between those energies, integrating the assertive force of fire with the receptive energy of Venus.
Exactly. The lecture explains that the purpose of this meditation is to awaken a sense of universal love that embraces all of creation, both visible and invisible.
So it's not just about romantic love or even love for specific people. It's about cultivating a love that transcends all boundaries and encompasses everything.
Precisely. And this universal love is said to express itself through service to humanity, through acts of kindness, compassion, and generosity.
So it's not just a feeling. It's an active force that motivates us to make a positive difference in the world.
That's the beauty of it. This meditation is about connecting with that powerful force of love and letting it guide our actions, our words, and even our thoughts.
Wow, that's incredibly inspiring. It's like we're tapping into a limitless source of energy and motivation.
Exactly. Now, the second meditation focuses on the cross in its various forms and aspects. Remember, we encountered several crosses when we were discussing the admission badges.
right? The Calvary cross of 12 squares, the Calvary cross of 10 squares, the Hegemon's cross, each one representing a different path on the tree of life.
Exactly. And this meditation is about understanding the deeper meaning of the cross, its symbolism, and its significance in our spiritual journey.
Okay, so we're not just meditating on a physical object.
Yeah.
We're exploring the essence of what the cross represents.
Precisely. And the lecture emphasizes the concept of sacrifice as a central theme in this meditation.
Sacrifice. That sounds a little intense. What kind of sacrifice are we talking about?
Well, not in the sense of physical harm or deprivation. It's about surrendering our ego, our limited sense of self, to something greater.
So it's about letting go of our attachments, our desires, our fears, all the things that keep us trapped in a limited perspective.
Exactly. And the lecture quotes a powerful teaching, "Whosoever shall save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall save it."
That's a profound paradox. It's suggesting that clinging to our ego or our sense of separateness ultimately leads to stagnation and suffering.
Precisely. While surrendering to something greater, even if it involves letting go of things we're attached to, opens us to a deeper sense of fulfillment and connection.
It's like the seed that has to die in order to give birth to a new plant.
That's a perfect analogy, and this meditation is about embracing that process of death and rebirth, allowing ourselves to be transformed by something beyond our limited understanding.
Wow, this is deep stuff.
Yeah.
What else does the meditation involve?
Well, the lecture encourages us to contemplate our place in the universe, to recognize our interconnectedness with all things, and to cultivate a sense of humility and gratitude.
So it's about shifting our perspective from a narrow, self-centered view to a wider, more expansive understanding of reality.
Exactly. And it also encourages us to practice continence of speech and control over our mental activity.
That sounds challenging. What's the purpose of that?
Well, think about it. How often do we get caught up in negative thoughts, worries, and anxieties? How often do we speak impulsively or say things we later regret?
More often than I'd like to admit.
It's a common human experience. But this meditation is about cultivating mindfulness, becoming aware of our thoughts and words, and choosing to align them with our highest aspirations.
So it's about taking responsibility for our inner world and recognizing how it impacts our outer reality.
Exactly. And this practice of self-control is not about repression or denying our emotions. It's about choosing to respond to life's challenges with wisdom, compassion, and equanimity.
That makes sense. It's about becoming more conscious creators of our own experience.
Precisely. And finally, the meditation concludes with a beautiful image, the sun as thinly veiled in clouds.
Oh, that's such a powerful image. What do you make of it?
I see it as a reminder that even in the midst of life's challenges and uncertainties, the divine light is always present, shining behind the clouds of our perceptions.
So it's a message of hope and resilience. Even when things feel dark or difficult, the light is still there waiting to break through.
Exactly. And that's meditation is encouraging us to cultivate that inner knowing, that trust in the divine presence that guides and supports us through every experience.
Wow, these meditations are truly transformative. They offer a path to experience these Kabbalistic principles firsthand, to integrate them into our lives and embody them in a meaningful way.
They do. And it's important to remember that these meditations are just a starting point. The journey of Kabbalistic study is a lifelong exploration, a continual process of deepening our understanding and expanding our consciousness.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been on quite a journey through the intricate world of Kabbalah,
Yeah.
the essence of Azoth to the divine family, the symbolism of the Tree of Life, those intriguing admission badges, and even the 7 palaces of Asaya.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But remember, Kabbalah isn't just about accumulating knowledge.
No.
It's about applying that knowledge
It's about transformation.
to transform ourselves and the world around us.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And that's where the meditations outlined for the greater philosophers come in.
Yes.
They offer a practical way to bridge the gap between theory and experience.
Right.
In the last part, we started discussing those 2 main meditations. The first one focuses on contemplating the fire triangle and the symbol of Venus.
Right.
It's about integrating the active assertive energy of fire with the receptive harmonizing energy of Venus
Yes.
to awaken a sense of universal love.
Universal love.
I'm curious how this universal love is different from the love we typically experience in our relationships.
That's a great question. Think of it this way. The love we feel for our family, friends, or romantic partners is often focused on specific individuals. It's a beautiful and important form of love, but it can also be conditional.
Conditional, what do you mean by that?
Well, sometimes our love is based on how those people make us feel, how they meet our needs, or whether they align with our values. And when those conditions aren't met, our love can waver or even turn into resentment.
I see. So this universal love is about transcending those limitations and embracing a love that's unconditional and all-encompassing.
Exactly. It's a love that doesn't discriminate or exclude. It embraces all beings, regardless of their flaws, beliefs, or actions. It's a love that recognizes the divine spark in everyone and everything.
Wow, that's a powerful concept. But how do we actually cultivate that kind of love? It seems almost impossible.
It's definitely a journey, not a destination. But this meditation offers a starting point. By contemplating the fire triangle and the symbol of Venus, we begin to integrate those seemingly opposite energies within ourselves.
So we're balancing our own inner fire, our passion and drive, with the harmonizing energy of love and beauty.
Precisely. And as we do that, we start to see the world through a different lens. We become more compassionate, more understanding, more forgiving. We begin to recognize the interconnectedness of all things.
And that leads to a more expansive, unconditional love.
Exactly. It's like we're tapping into a limitless source of love that's always available to us. A love that can heal old wounds, dissolve negativity, and inspire us to act with kindness and generosity.
That's incredible. It's like we're activating a superpower within ourselves.
You could say that. Now, the second meditation focuses on the cross in its various forms and aspects, and the key theme here is sacrifice.
Sacrifice. I have to admit that word can be a bit intimidating. What does it really mean in this context?
It's not about physical pain or deprivation. It's about surrendering our ego, our limited sense of self, to something greater.
So it's about letting go of our attachments, our desires, our fears, all the things that keep us feeling separate and limited.
Exactly. Remember the saying, whosoever shall save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall save it.
It's a paradox, but it makes sense. Clinging to our ego ultimately leads to suffering,
Right.
while surrendering to something greater opens us to true fulfillment.
Precisely. And this meditation is about embracing that process of death and rebirth, allowing ourselves to be transformed by something beyond our limited understanding.
So we're letting go of the old self, the ego-driven self, and allowing a new self to emerge.
Exactly. It's a process of spiritual evolution, of shedding old patterns and embracing new possibilities.
And how does the cross fit into this process?
Well, the cross represents the intersection of the horizontal and vertical dimensions of reality. The
Oh.
horizontal represents the material world, our everyday experiences, while the vertical represents the spiritual realm, the connection to the divine.
So the cross symbolizes the point where those two dimensions meet, where the spiritual infuses the material.
Exactly. And by meditating on the cross, we're aligning ourselves with that intersection, integrating the spiritual and material aspects of our being.
It's like we're bringing heaven down to earth, so to speak.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And this meditation also encourages us to contemplate our place in the universe, to recognize our interconnectedness with all things, and to cultivate a sense of humility and gratitude.
So it's about shifting our perspective from a narrow, self-centered view to a wider, more expansive understanding of reality.
Exactly. And it also encourages us to practice continence of speech and control over our mental activity.
That sounds challenging,
Mm.
but I can see how it's important for spiritual growth.
It is. Think about how much energy we waste on negative thoughts, worries, and anxieties. By cultivating mindfulness, we can free up that energy and direct it towards more positive and creative endeavors.
So it's about becoming more conscious creators of our own experience.
Precisely. And finally, the meditation concludes with that beautiful image of the sun veiled in clouds.
I love that image. It's so reassuring.
It is. It reminds us that even when things feel dark or difficult, the divine light is always present, shining behind the clouds of our perceptions.
So it's a message of hope and resilience, a reminder that we're never truly alone.
Exactly. And by cultivating that inner knowing, that trust in the divine presence that guides and supports us, we can navigate any challenge with grace and courage.
Wow, these meditations are truly profound. They offer a powerful way to integrate these Kabbalistic principles into our lives and experience their transformative power firsthand.
They do. And it's important to remember that these meditations are just a starting point. The journey of Kabbalistic study is a lifelong exploration, a continual process of deepening our understanding and expanding our consciousness.
Absolutely. Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into this fascinating Kabbalistic lecture, from Azoth to the Tree of Life, the admission badges, the 7 palaces of Asaya, and the power of meditation. We've explored a rich tapestry of knowledge and wisdom. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired to delve even deeper into these concepts.
Me too. And remember, Kabbalah isn't just an intellectual pursuit. It's a path of self-discovery, transformation, and empowerment. It's about unlocking the hidden potential within ourselves and creating a more harmonious and fulfilling life.
That's a beautiful way to sum it up.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of Kabbalah. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of existence. And as always, keep those aha moments coming.